Hey guys, we're going to back to the video, and today I'm going to be talking about how the Kevin Durant slander really on Twitter and all around in the NBA media is really getting out of hand and is kind of getting borderline just dumb at this point. Like, Kevin Durant's one of those players in NBA media that everyone loves to hate, and rightfully so. For a while, when he did first go to Golden State, that's when it was fun and accepted to just unconditionally hate Kevin Durant due to how unfair he made the NBA when he was on the Golden State Warriors. But really before that, and then even since then, Kevin Durant has not done all that much to deserve all the hate he has gotten, especially as of recently, for something that is not entirely his fault in any shape or form, and I think it has been very unfair. So I'm getting to a few things in this video, why I think it's unfair, some of the hate that he's been getting, and what is some of the criticism people are making about Kevin Durant right now. So I'm getting to all that in this video, and if you like the point, hit the like button and subscribe button, it would mean the absolute world to me. And without further ado, without rambling on too much, let's get right into this video. Alright, so to really find out where the Kevin Durant hate train officially started, you would have to go back to where everyone knows when he signed with the Golden State Warriors after losing to them in a series where they choked a 3-1 lead when he was still with the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. And at that point, like I said earlier, it was completely accepted to hate Kevin Durant. Universally, it was a rule. Kevin Durant made the NBA completely unfair. The Golden State Warriors had no chance of not making it to the finals and no chance of not winning the finals when Kevin Durant was on that roster, and they were probably a top 2, maybe the best roster to ever be assembled in the NBA era. There's no hands down about it. Like, they were one of the best teams in the league, and everyone disliked Kevin Durant for it, not just because he formed such a super team, just due to what he did. Like, you went to a team that just beat you in the conference finals, and that just looks really bad when you're someone like Kevin Durant and such a superstar level player that he was, which is why he got so much criticism. I mean, he was called a snake for forever. The Next Chapter meme was a thing forever, which is still kind of a meme to this day, and really the hate has really just followed him everywhere he's been. But since he's left the Golden State Warriors and went to Brooklyn, he really hasn't done all that much to cause much hate towards him, but yet he still gets a ton of it just due to that one decision he made to join Golden State. And as of late, the hate has pretty much been completely unwarranted if you really look at it, because currently you have Charles Barkley talking about he can't be a leader on a team, he can't make him to the finals, he's not a bus driver. Then you have all the other Twitter heads talking about he's not a top 5 player anymore, he just ruined his legacy and all that type of things. And if you look about it, they're saying all of that because the dude had 3 bad playoff games. That's it. He had 3 bad games, and really he had 2 horrible games and just 1 not himself game. So it is insane that people are saying this, and if we're gonna go through these 3 games right now. So those 2 really bad games that he had in the playoff series against the Boston Celtics was actually the first 2 games of the series, as despite both games being very close, Kevin Durant shot awfully during those first 2 games. He was only averaging 31% from the field goal and 28% from the 3-point line. The dude probably couldn't have thrown a rock in the ocean if he wanted to. He was completely off and just did not look like himself at all through those first 2 games, but despite that, both of those games were still very close. And then if you go to game 3, although game 3 he still shot much better, his efficiencies were way higher due to his poor shooting the first 2 games. He was much more passive than you're ever used to seeing from Kevin Durant. He barely shot any shots, and then also due to how good of the defense the Boston Celtics were playing on him, he was only able to score 16 points. And now, like I said, his efficiencies were way higher, but he shot way less shots, especially way less compared to what Kevin Durant usually would do. But he still had a very solid game, and he was overall didn't play bad. He just wasn't aggressive and wasn't the superstar the Brooklyn Nets needed him to be in order to beat a team like the Boston Celtics. But then in game 4, we saw him go back to the normal Kevin Durant self, where he scored 39 points, 7 rebounds, and 9 assists. Now, they still lost that game, but it was in no way due to Kevin Durant. They lost that game because Bruce Brown, Andre Drummond, Blake Griffin, and Patty Mills combined for a total of 7 points in 61 minutes of combined time. They played a little bit over an hour of basketball as a group of NBA players who have slightly big roles on a playoff level team in the NBA, scored 7 damn points as a group in an hour of play. That is impressively horrendous. So although game 1, 2, and 3, you can put a little bit of blame on Kevin Durant due to him not playing like Kevin Durant. In game 4, Kevin Durant in no way, shape, or form was to blame for that loss. And people still somehow found a way to blame the entire series on Kevin Durant. Now, am I saying Durant deserves no blame, no hate for how he played in this series? No, the Boston Celtics played very, very good on him, and they played great defense, and that was probably one of the better defensive performances we've ever seen put on Kevin Durant. But it's not fair to say that Kevin Durant wasn't being solely focused in on, and they were not going to allow Kevin Durant to beat him. And then Kevin Durant still was able to have a very good game in game 4. So everybody is saying he can't be a leader on a team, he's no longer a top 5 player, and people are just bashing on him because they love to hate on him because he had 3 bad games pretty much the entire season. That is insane to say. Like, the rationale behind some of the things people are saying are insane. Now, a lot of it is from the big media heads that just want to say Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant's a big name. He's going to probably respond to you on Twitter, and he's overall just going to get you a lot more clicks. Now, that's why a lot of people are doing it. There are still some people, some kind of like respected NBA analysis that legitimately think Kevin Durant is no longer a top 5 player because he had 3 bad games in a series. Like, that is insane. And not like he had a bad game and he was playing against some bums. He's playing against the Boston Celtics, who are debatably the best team, best built team in the entire NBA. Like, it is insane to say how, like, that he's a bad player because he had 3 bad games against one of the best teams in the entire NBA. By the way, not only are the Boston Celtics the best defensive team in the NBA, literally they're ranked the most defensively efficient team in the entire NBA, they also have the defensive player of the damn year on their team. So if he was going to struggle against anyone and get a break for it, it would be the Boston Celtics, who are gonna key in game plan on how to stop Kevin Durant. Like, I don't think it is fair at all to bash a dude for struggling to score on the defensive player of the year and the best defensive team in the entire NBA statistically. That is insane. And then if you put it on top of it, if you look at it, the Boston Celtics had the much better built roster. Outside of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, due to Ben Simmons not playing a game at all for them ever in this series, Kyrie and Kevin Durant were the only 2 the Boston Celtics cared to guard. That's why Bruce Brown was out there averaging 20 points through the first 3 games. Because they could have gave a damn if Bruce Brown was scoring 20 and Kevin Durant was also only scoring 20 on terrible efficiency. Like, they would much rather slow Kyrie and Kevin Durant down opposed to Bruce Brown and Blake Griffin. With all respect to them, no one cares if Bruce Brown scores 20 points on them if they're holding Kevin Durant as well to only 20 points and at bad efficiency at that. So I think for sure it's very unfair to bash Kevin Durant for struggling in this series, and overall, it's just overall not fair that he got this much hate for legitimately what was only 3 bad games. Now, I think the main reason he's getting hated on so much is due to recency bias. Like, you can go back just a few weeks and everyone would have said Kevin Durant is a top 5 player, and some people would have made the argument that he's the best player in the entire NBA. But due to recent stuff and recency bias, which I always say recency bias is a hell of a drug, everyone is saying now Kevin Durant's no longer a top 5 player and he is washed up, which is just an insane take to me, and it's just completely unwarranted as well. And one of the biggest reasons why I think it is so unfair that Kevin Durant is getting so much hate for this season is because he has been one of the only constants for this Brooklyn Nets team. If you really look at it, despite Kevin Durant missing 24 games, he has been by far the most consistent and best player for this Brooklyn Nets team this year, and it hasn't been even close. As if you look at the other players that the Brooklyn Nets were expecting to build around and play with and put around Kevin Durant to help make it to the finals this year as like the star level players, if you look at them, this is what they did. Kyrie Irving, he missed the first 35 games of the year and then almost missed every single home game after that due to vaccine issues, which resulted in him in missing 53 total games on the season, which is well over half of the season. And then James Harden, who was supposed to be the other best scorer to put alongside James Harden and form the big 3, there were tons of reports that James Harden came to training camp completely unconditioned and that Kevin Durant was quote unquote a astonished by how out of shape James Harden was. You are a professional NBA player, and you are fat going into training camp. And everyone is bashing Kevin Durant for the season Brooklyn had. Not the two guys who both missed a lot of time, and one got traded due to how fractured the relationship was between Kevin Durant and him, due to him coming to training camp fat. You have two professional NBA players, one who is scared to get a shot and doesn't want to get a vaccine, and the other one who likes to eat too much during the offseason and doesn't want to work out. And Kevin Durant is the one taking all the blame for the Brooklyn Nets' disappointing season. That is absolutely insane to me. And despite all these inconsistencies with the Brooklyn Nets, with a brand new coach in Steve Nash that seems like no one on the roster respected, Kevin Durant still carried this team to a 7th seed in the Eastern Conference to even give them a chance to compete in the playoffs. And people still expected them to beat the Boston Celtics, one of the best built rosters and literally the best defense in the entire NBA. And that is just completely insane to me that Durant is getting this much hate for putting together a very successful season for the Brooklyn Nets for all the things that were going against him, especially since Durant did it pretty much by himself. And that's pretty much basically the sum of what I wanted to say and get off my chest, that I don't think Kevin Durant in any way deserves the amount of hate he's gotten. And I think a lot of it, like I said, is recency bias or people wanting to get clicks and just saying some crazy takes that they don't even believe. But there are a part of the internet that legitimately believes Durant is no longer a superstar because he had 3 bad games, and people are blaming him for this season despite all the other factors that other players put on him that Durant had zero control over. But yet, since he's the biggest name and people love to hate on him, he is the biggest one that gets hate and gets the most hate by far. Now, I am not a Kevin Durant fan by any means. I was one of the people calling him a snake when he joined the Warriors because that was a bitch move. But I in no way support the hate he is currently getting. I love hating on Durant, but not as of right now, because right now, besides a little bit of Twitter trolling, which I don't really care about, Durant honestly has been one of the more calm, under-the-radar superstars we've had in the NBA in a long time, and he's a kind of a chill dude. If you do look at some of the Twitter stuff he says, he likes to mess with people and he likes to mess around, and I don't think he deserves a lot of the hate he's gotten, especially since he's gone to the Brooklyn Nets. But unfortunately, guys, that's my first video, so comment below. I want to hear what you think. Do you think Durant deserves his hate? Do you think he doesn't? On your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like being a point, hit the like button and subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world to me, and I hope you have a blessed day. Have a blessed day. So you have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.